you can actually use that song to actually scale the scariest tower in all of Termina. Stone Tower. But now for real. Okay, last time we were here, these pressure switches were kind of a problem since we didn't have anything to keep the pressure. But now we do. The soldier with no heart is the solution to this puzzle. So let's call in the help of good old Ben Drowned. And from experience I found out this is not a song that is easily forgotten. And that is because you get to play this a whole freaking lot of times during this. But anyway, it's obvious this dead weight here is going to help us keep the pressure on this switch, so we can move on to the next one. And for that, we're going to need a hookshot, and of course other forms of link, because we can only shed one shell at a time. So make sure you bring along as many forms of link as you can. And let's move on. The moment I start playing the Elegy of Emptiness with... I went straight through a boulder, that is a scary thought. But anyway, the moment you start playing the Elegy of Emptiness again, in a form you already have a statue with, that previous one will disappear. So we need to do it with other forms if we want to use multiple. However, Deku Link, as you can see, as we may know from experience, is not heavy enough. So his form we would normally not get to see. However, I'm lenient. I'm going to show off how Deku Link's shedded form looks. This is going to be the only time we are ever going to see it. But this is actually Deku Link's shell. It's completely useless, since it can't do anything. But at least you know how it looks like. So let's place the bunny hood back where it belongs. And let's start using the other two forms, which we can actually use for switches. Like Zora Link, for instance. Okay, let's go see how his shell looks. The soldier with no heart. It's a pretty good solution for this. However, we've got 4 of them. And that Deku Link is going to stay there forever. Since we're not going to use another one. But okay, here's Zora Link's statue. It actually reminds me a lot more of Mikau than the Zora Link actually does. But okay, we have one more, obviously. For that one we can use Goron Link. You can do them in any order, by the way. It does not have to be the order I'm doing it in. But anyway, as long as you have 3 different statues on these 3 switches, because otherwise one of them is not going to stay pressed. This should be the final one. Okay. And here we have resemblance of the great hero Darmony. Of course, its only use is to actually keep down switches, but still, it looks awesome. Okay, and you may wonder, we have 3 of them already. How are we going to do the next set of 3? Well, that's pretty simple. We can just do the old statues again, since we don't need the old ones anymore. We already passed the blocks they actually held in place. So for the next set of 3, we can just start all over again. And luckily, here in the 3DS version, the moment you've actually played the song once, as you can see, you can actually skip the cutscene of the statue forming. Something that is not present in the N64 version, so definitely a good improvement. Because otherwise, playing the song over and over again might get a little bit annoying. The fact that you have to play the notes over and over again, that the game cannot prevent, but at least it can skip the cutscene. Okay, Goron Link up next, because why not? Need to change the order somewhat sometimes. Thank you. Make sure this BMOS doesn't get annoying. It's actually the first time they appear in this game, which is interesting. Unfortunately, you can't actually reflect their beams with the mirror shield. It would have been awesome, since it is light beam after all. But they are easily avoided with these hookshot pillars. Or worst case scenario, you can also kill them with bombs, of course. Okay, one more. And that makes 3. Now let's make sure it stays put. Man, this song is easy. All with all, it's not a very easy combination, all these buttons, but since you played so many times, it's actually easy to get a feel for this. Even the fact that the N64 notes are a little bit more in my mind, even that does not stop me here. Okay, are all these block cutscenes over? Yeah, obviously 2 of them play now. One because of the block moving into place, and the second one because of the previous block actually moving back to its original position, of course, since that statue disappears the moment we input the new one. Okay, next couple of ledges are just hookshot points. There's still one more set of switches, but those are actually all the way at the top. I see you coming. Oh, he still hits me. And I thought I was being smart, seeing that guy approaching. Okay, we have reached the top. Stone Tower has been toppled. However, we don't just want to reach the top, we actually want to reach the temple as well. And for the temple, luckily we get this owl statue all the way at the top. Unfortunately, they did not input it after the switches. I think they should have. So every time we warp here, we actually need to make this puzzle over and over again. And for this one, actually the order does matter, so follow along. Do the middle switch first. Because there are actually only 2 switches that actually move blocks. So we need to do this middle one first, because this one actually puts one of the blocks on top of the other one. So the switch that actually moves those blocks will move both of them. Let's go see how that works. Okay, it's not this one. It's the next one then, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Let's first just put this statue on. No, come on. Okay, Elegy of Emptiness, screw up count 1. Sometimes I'd like to do this way too fast. Okay, and the third switch is actually the one that matters. Because look what happens now. This actually moves the middle block. However, officially there are 2 middle blocks if the first switch is already pressed. And therefore they will both start moving. I'm pretty sure the second and third switch you can actually do in any order. But no matter what, you need to do the middle switch first, because otherwise this won't work. And speaking of not working, that's what you get for switching the order of these statues around. But no matter what, we've reached the dungeon, that's all that matters. It's a little tedious process reaching it, but we are here. The final dungeon in this game. The Stone Tower Temple. And I can't really say I like this place, it's way too confusing for my doing. You'll see what I mean once we reach the halfway point of this dungeon, but for now let's go see what we have. These dragonfly enemies actually reappear. We've not seen those since the Woodfall Temple. Oh! Hookshot is a bad idea. Oh, okay. Friendly fire among enemies. And I was all ready to struggle, and in the end I didn't have to do a damn thing. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, we know these blocks, but we have no light here, so apparently a dead end. The other door is the way to go. Because the door in the middle is actually blocked off right now. This is our only way in the temple. Oh, I can actually use you, so I don't have to switch to bombs. Thank you. These bomb true enemies are proving to be quite valuable. Okay, we have some blue switches here. That is not all. Because unlike the outside part of the dungeon, now we do have a block. And an upside down chest. Okay. Let's pretend that does not exist. And let's just do the obvious thing and move this block where it belongs. There's actually more of these switches in the room, but you can actually only put this block on this one. Because all of the other ones are going to be elevated. And therefore the block can't reach it. But this one, we can reach. As you can see, elevated switch. So that one we have to do ourselves. And here we actually have an elevated big switch. Remember the Snowhead Temple, where we learned big switches can only be pressed by Heavy Boy here. Well, this one requires the Goron statue to stand on it and nothing else. Forget the Deku Link statue not working anywhere. Link and Zora Link also don't work here. But this one, it does work, so... let's put another statue. Making it 3 statues on the switches. We can already see the 4th one in the background. That's the whole reason why we needed the block. We don't have enough Link statues for all of the switches. Come on, just bumped you. Hookshotting enemies is a bad idea. Okay, final statue. Yeah, I did promise we would play this song a lot of times. Not just outside of the dungeon. Okay, we're reaching a little bit of an outside area now. I don't like outside areas in the canyon because it's always filled with crows. Dragonflies, which I now know not to hookshot. I don't have a bomb shoot to help me now, so... old sword combat will have to do. And speaking of bombs, we can see a cracked floor here, so we know what we need to do. A hole in the ground equals a hole in the ceiling in the floor below it. And in this case a required one, because of the outside area being on top of us. This actually puts light in this room, which we need in order to get rid of this block. Let's get Goron Link out, because I see a lot of lava here. A normal Link can't stand lava, so... oh, these guys are actually alive. Help! Oh. Return of the Armo statues. Help! At least they disappeared as quickly as they came. Okay, I'm going to assume I need to kill all of them. Pretty sure they give me a chest actually if I do. Great job blowing each other up, guys. I'm turning this into the Dungeon of Friendly Fire. This is for a small key. And the other one is actually the dungeon map, question mark. This is the dungeon I'm least familiar with, so excuse me if I sometimes forget the smaller details. But yeah, this is indeed the dungeon map, it had to be. Let's go see what we have. Okay, 3 floors. Second basement floor does not appear to be too big. First basement floor. Also not that big. And the first floor... well, there's a giant loop in the north, but other than that, it's not really that big, isn't it? So in that case, we might be done quickly with this dungeon. Come on, Link, you can roll over that. It's not that high. But anyway, we have seen bigger dungeons, so this one might be done quickly. But anyway, here's the locked door, so let's go in here. And here we find some water, and therefore it's actually Zora Link's time. Yeah, the interesting aspect about Stone Tower temples, because of not having a quote-unquote Link form to actually exploit with challenges, the Stone Tower temple actually makes use of all Link's forms. Goron Link, Zora Link, and even Deku Link actually get all of their challenges. It's an everything goes dungeon in that matter, you might say. It's pretty interesting how it works like that. Oh, and speaking of which, we actually have a switch on a little bit of a higher ledge over there. We also have a switch over here. which we can actually hit through the fence. Normally you have to wait until getting the dungeon item. However, we can cheese this. And you can't hit me. Oh, there's also one of these arm enemies in the water over here. First, let's go take care of that other switch that we see over there. Because of it being a higher ledge, Zora Link is not able to actually dive to it. But we can bounce to it with Deku Link. That's the solution for this puzzle. Okay, there's an interesting looking enemy over there. On that bridge over there. It's currently cut off of us right now, so we don't have to worry quite yet. Let's worry about the chest first. I'm pretty sure in the N64 version this chest is already here. This switch pressing is actually added here. Not too sure why, but still. It is here in the 3DS version, as you can see. Okay, let's ignore you. And let's move on to the next room. Which is the biggest room in this dungeon, by the way. It's mostly filled with water, but not all of the room. Let's get down to the bottom first, because there's actually another switch we need to press. It's surrounded by mines, but let's just say with this many health, I'm not too worried about mines. Usually I just plow through them. And it actually spawns an upside down chest. Okay. That first chest probably wasn't a fluke. More of them start appearing now. This dungeon is a little bit confused, I'm pretty sure. Okay, night of the second day, 36 hours remain. Still plenty of time, I would say. But anyway, we have seen a multitude of upside down things already. But luckily, not everything is upside down. There's also still a couple of normal things here. Let's start working with those first. Before we start complaining to the developers that they actually programmed this game wrong. Okay, after hitting this eye switch, we get another upside down chest. What the hell? I'm starting to think this dungeon doesn't want to be cleared. Okay, new mechanic time. This is actually the block we met in the first room after going right. It seems we need to get rid of it from the other side. And we get a special mirror for it. Is that a mirror? This thing looks different from your everyday mirror. Yeah, and that is because it is. This mirror can actually absorb light. As you can see, we have a ray of light here, which we can actually use to shine light on this mirror, which will actually absorb it. As you can see by the fact that the lights actually go in it, and the moment we release it, the light will actually put out the light it absorbed, which we can then again use. Remember this trick, we'll be using it more often. Let's get the compass first. Because that is pretty obvious. In here, we found the compass, the final one in this game. Let's go see where all the chests are, and most of all where the boss is. Okay, chests everywhere. Most of them upside down, like we've noticed. But interestingly enough, we actually don't see any boss skull in the map. Oh, I'm forgetting about the stray fairies, aren't I? Completely forgetting about stray fairies. And we did miss one already, so... no, I missed two already. One is actually over here, the first room. I just thought of another one we've missed in the room with the dungeon map and the first small key. There's actually also one over there. Completely forgot about stray fairies. Oh, come on! This is not turning out to be my day so far. And I was doing so fine until the dungeon got started. But okay, here's the first stray fairy. Let's also quickly get back to the room with the dungeon map, because there's actually also one over there. I'll cut out this room, don't worry. Okay, here we are. There is actually a hookshot point right up there. And there's a chest over here. Okay, unless I'm mistaken, these are actually the only two we missed, so luckily the damage is limited. Let's return to where we were. Yeah, the fact that there's actually no stray fairies flying loosely in this dungeon is actually the only dungeon where all of the stray fairies are in chests, and therefore the Great Fairy Mask is also not really required. I think because of that reason I tend to forget there are stray fairies here. But luckily the compass reminded me, and these upside down chests are another mystery. Okay, what do we have over here? Taddle, help me out here. Are these all piled up atop one another? They look heavy. Heavy. Okay, that is actually the word I was looking for. Goron Link can actually pound these away. Once they are gone, they will actually reveal a bundle of light. And as you can see, there's a lot of things to light in this room, so get ready to use this a lot. First, sun switches. I'm not too sure which one is the real one, I always forget. Okay, what should be the final one? Go away. Okay, that's the real one. There's only one sun that actually gives a reward, this one. So you don't have to try them all out. However, we do also need this ray of light to shine on the blocks as well. And therefore we need to use these magic mirrors again. And apparently your shield can also kill these shadow enemies. Did not remember that. But I accidentally killed one. No, come on. Does there really have to be one of those guys here? Okay, that is 3. And the chest we just spawned is actually number 4. See, we're getting there. I completely forgot about them at first, but I already have 4, so don't worry. Okay, before we start working on this one, better make sure all of the enemies are out of the way. Otherwise this can get annoying, because the moment you actually have to break your shining, the mirror will start putting out its light. So better make sure we have as much time as we can possibly have before these enemies actually force us to move out of the way. Because of this one taking 2 mirrors, this one can be quite tricky. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can't get rid of these guys without getting hit if you use short-range weapons. Let's just move on to the next room, which is actually going to be a Goron Link and Deku Link challenge. As you can see, there's a chest over there, but it's covered in flames. So we first need to press a switch, and for that the Goron challenge is actually required. Whee! Okay, I'm on top of this thing. Major discovery here, people. Apparently you can get on top of this ledge with Goron Link. But okay, let's get back to serious business. There's a pound switch here, which will actually reveal a normal switch all the way at the other side of the room. So let's roll there quickly, because it's actually a temporal switch. If you get there quick enough, the flames at the chest will go out. And this switch is actually not timed, so the moment you have to press that, you're safe. Let's get to Deku Link, because he obviously needs to do the rest of the room. Even though we just launched ourselves with these airstreams with Goron Link, they are actually meant for Deku Link. Obviously. These things will keep us in the air after using our Deku Flower, because as you may know, if we are too far from our Deku Flower, we actually start falling, unless we get propelled in the air again. First, let's make a detour to the left for Stray Fairy number 5. And then let's move on. Make sure you get to these airstreams in time before you actually fall down again. These things will actually reset your flight counter, you might say. Yeah, if you've reached this point in the game, these kind of challenges shouldn't bother you too much anymore. You should be able to handle these by this point. Okay, and here we actually find in the next room, rectangular room with a chest in the middle. You should know what time it is. Mini-boss time. Ooh. That thing looks kind of familiar. Don't he have a mask? It looks like this guy. Oh, and he acts the same as the Garrows from Ikana Canyon. I think we found the Garrow Master. But unlike the other guys, this guy actually does know what he's doing. His combat is a lot better than his lower ranked Garrows were. But he's still not going to be a problem. I'm a much better swordsman. To think I could be defeated. Although you are my rival, you were spectacular. I shall take my final bow by opening my heart and revealing my wisdom. If you shoot that which burns with a sacred golden light into the glowing red emblem outside of the temple, the world shall be rearranged so that the earth is born in the heavens and the moon is born on the earth. Do not forget these words. Die I shall, leaving no corpse. That is the law of the Garrow. I swear, these guys are Mandalorians. But anyway, he's talking in riddles. And that riddle can be solved by the item we actually find in this chest. The final dungeon item in this game is going to be